confronted my unfaithful spouse with divorce documents during her clandestine hotel rendezvous. Greetings, everyone. I trust this message finds you in good spirits. This tale is quite lengthy and rather chaotic. I apologize for any mistakes, as I'm composing this on my phone. I find myself at a complete standstill, utterly lost in how to untangle this situation. To provide some context, I am 43 years old, and my significant other is 40. We have been married for 16 years. We are blessed with 2 children, a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Our marriage faced significant challenges in the early days, yet we persevered through those difficult years and emerged stronger as a result. We tied the knot at a young age, so we weren't fully mature, but our love for each other was undeniable, and we believed we could overcome any challenge that arose in our marriage. I remain uncertain if this was merely a product of my imagination. My wife has been managing a large advertising company for 3 years, while I have been in engineering for 7 years. Our careers provide a solid income and have afforded our family a comfortable lifestyle. We were an incredibly close family. As parents, we consistently strive to be present for our children, ensuring that we create wonderful memories together. Regardless of how hectic our schedules became, we consistently prioritize time for our children. Honestly, I see myself as a devoted father and partner. I made mistakes at times in my relationship with my wife, yet I devoted myself entirely to her. It truly shook me to my core when I discovered that she had been involved in a long-term affair. This leads me to a revelation. My spouse seemed to be withdrawing. The 2 years preceding this one were without a doubt the most challenging. It felt like nothing I did ever met her approval. She constantly drew comparisons between me and her boss, and I realize now how often she would share his approach to various situations. I can't decipher her thoughts. Indeed, her superior has that capability. Why not take the lead and plan some dates to make her feel truly special? Indeed, her employer takes those actions for his spouse. What led to my immaturity? I would inquire about her desires for enhancing the excitement in our romantic life. Her response typically is, "Don't inquire. You should already be aware and take action." I delved into research and gathered books. It seems that, given my lack of understanding, there must be someone out there with the solution. Every effort I made was greeted with either lukewarm acknowledgement or deep-seated discontent. Throughout the years I've known my wife, she has never exhibited this behavior, leading me to believe that my failure to bring her happiness was an issue I urgently needed to address. Unbeknownst to me, I wasn't the one orchestrating the repairs all along. We shared a strong bond with her boss and his wife. Their children also enjoyed a wonderful friendship. We included them in our barbecues, family outings to the park, and game days at the arcade. They visited our home many times, and we've also gone to Teresa's place. It's only natural that we grew close. I would share our marital issues with her supervisor. He offered me valuable guidance. I believed he was a great guy. Anyway, returning to the revelation, I had become emotionally exhausted from my wife's expectations for self-improvement, realizing that the marriage was over. I was genuinely taken aback by her demeanor because, prior to all this, I believed we shared a wonderful marriage. One evening, she was immersed in laughter and giggles as she texted someone. I lay beside her in bed, filled with curiosity. As I tilted my head to catch a glimpse, she abruptly yanked herself away from me. Her anger flared up immediately as she demanded to know what I was doing. I expressed my curiosity about the joke, but she dismissed me, saying it was none of my concern, and then she withdrew to the bathroom. It was on that day that I felt an undeniable certainty that something was amiss, hinting at an affair of sorts unfolding beneath the surface. However, I lacked any evidence. The following day, I erred by asking her directly. She was seething with anger and rejected any claims of misconduct. I lacked access to her phone, yet my desire for the truth was overwhelming. When I requested her phone, she declined. It was only later in the night that she reluctantly handed me the phone. Nearly every text message she sent to certain individuals was erased. I noticed that certain conversations felt inconsistent, while others were simply absurd. I returned the phone to her, and we didn't mention it again until a month later, when I managed to enlist a friend to examine the device and retrieve the deleted messages. My wife had acquired another phone before and barely utilized the one she passed on to me. Fragments of texts were unearthed, and it was through these scattered clues that I ultimately uncovered the evidence of an affair, and as you might have surmised, it was with her superior. I sensed that if I confronted her at that moment, she would cleverly evade the issue, so I decided to wait for the right opportunity. I was a complete mess, however. My mind was consumed with thoughts of how it would impact the children. The circumstances were dreadful, and I found myself in tears before my friend. I still wasn't ready to let go of the marriage, so 3 days later, I purchased a guide on helping a spouse heal from an affair. It's perfectly fine if you're shaking your head at this. I began to read, thinking that if I shared it with my wife, she might put an end to this foolishness. I longed for my wife to return, yearning to mend our marriage. I intended to have a conversation with her that Saturday to resolve our issues, but she informed me that there was an emergency at work and advised me not to wait for her. Naturally, I reached out to the workplace on that day to verify the account she provided, but I received no response. They did not operate on Saturdays. I attempted to reach her on her phone, but there was no response. She returned home at 2 a.m. on Sunday, took a quick shower, and then slipped into bed. I inquired about her tardiness, and she sidestepped the question by stating that she had already informed me not to wait for her. I had reached my limit with this. I refrained from giving her the book I had brought along. I was enduring hardship, and she was indifferent. She witnessed my pain and remained indifferent. I reached out to the wife of her boss to see if she had any information. I was yearning for stability, and to this day, I stand by that decision without regret. She was just as stunned as I was upon discovering the news. She felt the urge to confront her husband, but I cautioned her that he would likely deceive her and cover it up more skillfully, just as my wife had done. We gathered at her place to talk about the situation, and I presented her with the scant evidence we possessed. She sought additional proof. We both agreed to collect evidence from our respective perspectives and analyze them side by side. I began to pry into my wife's affairs, and she reciprocated by investigating her husband's actions. She effortlessly uncovered irrefutable evidence. Her husband was so full of himself that he didn't even bother to delete the messages on his phone exchanged with my wife. The few texts I discovered earlier finally clicked into place, revealing the entire timeline of their affair, 2 years in total. The boss's wife was furious, and I shared her anger. She sought to exact her vengeance on them, and I felt the same way. They shared slumber in every possible place. Her residence, my residence, lavish accommodations, corporate travels, It was nauseating to peruse all of that. They exchanged pictures, yet we chose to overlook them, as we preferred not to subject ourselves to those visuals. We sought retribution, yet we had no desire for an affair of our own. We both agreed that if they desired one another, then they could pursue that connection. We both filed for divorce around the same time. We were absolutely determined about it. Our partners were unaware that we were in the loop, and we played our roles perfectly. Once everything was aligned, they were back at it once more. By working alongside the boss's wife, we gained precise insight into the location and manner of their service. We were aware of the hotel they chose for their weekend of enjoyment. I took a trip there alongside the sheriff. I sat in the lobby, patiently waiting while the sheriff set things in motion, and soon my wife was summoned to come down from her room. She did, clad in a bathrobe, and I dread nothing more. She's in a state of panic, urgently questioning me about my presence there. The journey from our home was considerable, yet still manageable. The sheriff sought verification of her name and details. She responded with a puzzled yes and was attended to. Seeing the stunned expression on her face was incredibly gratifying, yet I chose not to dwell on it. Instead, I walked away, content that I had accomplished what I set out to do. She refused to let me go, gripping my arm tightly and insisting on understanding the meaning behind this situation. I informed her about your affair and that I'm choosing to leave you, plain and straightforward. She began to yell at me, and as she yanked my arm forcefully, the sheriff intervened, instructing her to let me go immediately. She complied and began to weep, expressing that she could clarify, that I had misunderstood, and that it was my mistake. Feeling a surge of frustration, I hurriedly made my way home. My wife informed her boss, and he became quite flustered. According to what I heard, he hurried back home only to find himself confronted there. We didn't allow them the opportunity to gather their thoughts. We caught them off guard, just as they did to us. My divorce is set to be finalized in a couple of months, while hers may take a bit longer. My wife and her boss have been opposing us regarding the divorces. Neither is inclined to pursue a divorce. The justifications I encounter are that they never meant to part ways with their partners. It was simply a physical relationship, nothing beyond that. Some individuals navigate through more challenging situations, yet emerge with a strong and fulfilling marriage. They made a mistake and would like an opportunity to rectify the situation. I inquired of my wife her thoughts on the outcome of all this. She claimed to be going with the flow, yet her behavior was entirely uncharacteristic. She has transformed into someone entirely different. I informed her that she's being foolish. Those close to me are labeling me as malevolent for refusing to offer my wife another opportunity. My children are aware of the situation in a way that's suitable for their ages, and they fully support me. However, they would prefer if we remain together. My determination is waning. The reality of sharing the same space, along with my wife's therapy sessions and her engagement with the book I provided, is making it increasingly challenging to maintain my stance. She expresses deep regret and is willing to take any necessary steps. All I convey to her is that she regrets being discovered, and that's all I require to understand. She referred to me as someone filled with bitterness and resentment, unable to see beyond the negativity. She later expressed her regret, but I understand that her true feelings remain unchanged. I continue to have conversations with the boss's wife, much to my wife's dismay. She believes I'm planning a revenge affair, or that her boss's wife is the reason I'm unwilling to give us another opportunity. She has urged me multiple times to cut off communication with her boss's wife, just as she did with her boss. I told her she's out of her mind. We didn't do anything wrong, so why should I value your opinions at this point? Do you see? I believe I've reached the end. I hold no regard for her. She remains determined and is making an effort to share her thoughts and experiences regarding her affair with me. I perceive them as justifications, so I choose not to engage with her. She is asking me to join her in therapy. I came across numerous instances where the therapist places blame on the victim. And I was like, absolutely not. She desires for me to explore infidelity literature alongside her. What's the purpose if we're just going to end up separating? She desires closeness. I made it clear to her that she wouldn't be able to use sex to manipulate me. She insists it's not manipulation and merely wants to express her love for me. I amended my words and declared, "Love me now." So, it seems that those close to me are feeling frustrated, including my mom, as they believe everyone makes mistakes. My wife, through her own missteps, comes to understand just how much she truly loves me. I made it clear to everyone that I refuse to be anyone's second choice. I regret how I've been treating her. My affection for her remains, despite the presence of animosity. Am I being overly harsh with her? She's putting in a lot of effort, but I find myself indifferent. Should I rethink the divorce? There are voices suggesting that my pace is too rapid and that I might come to regret my choices. Is that really the case? I find myself questioning the nature of reality. I appreciate everyone for taking the time to address my situation. I have gone through all your comments, and several of you have addressed significant topics. I will be discussing these with my wife shortly. I will provide you with updates as they come. However, I believe that separation is truly the most beneficial path for myself and my children. This reading experience has been beneficial. Here's the latest on the narrative. All right, I'm here once more. I'm making another attempt. Because I've been receiving numerous emails requesting an update, I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Hey everyone, I appreciate your interest, and I want to clarify a few points. To begin with, my wife and I find ourselves in a relatively positive situation at the moment. It is not due to our efforts at reconciliation. No, I am still in the process of divorcing her. The most recent update I shared, which was removed by the automod, provided an in-depth explanation of our situation. In brief, my wife continues to plead for another opportunity and is making every effort to achieve it. I can't bring myself to give it to her. The duration of her affair was just too much for me to move past. If it were merely a fleeting encounter, the narrative would shift entirely. But 2 years? That's nothing short of a betrayal. I have attended several therapy sessions with her because I'm not a monster and still care for her deeply. One session was quite enlightening and helped me realize that my wife truly feels remorseful. She hasn't navigated the aftermath of her affair flawlessly, but she has been putting in a significant effort. The second session was chaotic, filled with her frustration over my ongoing communication with the boss's wife and her fears of a potential revenge affair. It was the most furious I had ever been throughout this entire situation, and we ended up having numerous arguments afterward because I stood my ground against her demand for no contact with the boss's wife. That was settled when I assured her that there would be no act of retribution in the form of an affair. I understand that I have no obligations, yet she remains my wife until the divorce is finalized, and I still wish to honor my commitments. I have been attending a few more sessions with her to observe her development. Indeed, this professional specializes in both individual and couples therapy. No, I won't be attending these sessions because, at my core, I wish to preserve our marriage. I wish to witness my wife's progress firsthand and engage if necessary. Following the divorce, I will withdraw with poise. The boss's wife continues to walk away from her husband. Her spouse continues to battle against her. Regarding the divorce, she is just as resolute as I am, and I must confess that we share our thoughts during our tougher days. I still don't perceive any affair taking place. We maintain a cordial relationship with one another. That concludes everything. She is a formidable and self-reliant individual who tolerates no nonsense from anyone. My children are doing well. They understand that our divorce doesn't diminish our love for them. They recognize the need for a divorce, yet they don't desire it, and they comprehend the situation in a way that's suitable for their age. My wife is no longer employed at the advertisement company. She is employed in a different location. She stepped down shortly after I presented her with the information. She has maintained a firm distance from her former boss. She mentioned that she sought assistance on forums to find ways to save her marriage and implemented the suggestions she received. I've been doing quite a bit of reading lately, and initially I found it perplexing why individuals would choose to remain with those who are unfaithful. However, witnessing my wife put in so much effort to improve herself, I can understand the allure. She isn't a creature of darkness. She possesses imperfections and has made regrettable decisions from which she is striving to improve. She has presented me with every possible opportunity to be granted another chance. I'm uncertain if I possess the necessary qualities. As the finality of divorce approaches, a sense of tranquility washes over me. We recently engaged in an extensive conversation about her desire for another opportunity following the divorce. She has proposed a postnup. I wasn't entirely against it, to be honest, but it would require an incredibly lengthy journey for her before I could even entertain the thought of it being a possibility. She appears to be quite eager, yet I fail to understand how that would serve any of our interests. Honestly, a significant part of me desires this divorce, driven by a temporary feeling of fairness. It's the sole form of justice available to me without compromising my integrity. After I opened up about my wife's affair, my mom and I reconciled. Now, she's completely enraged with my wife after discovering the details. I'm unsure how to approach that situation. Outburst, payback romance. All right. I held off on sharing my thoughts until my divorce was wrapped up. But today has me feeling really frustrated and in need of an outlet. As many of you are aware, my wife is extremely anxious about a potential revenge affair. The straightforward explanation is that I remain in touch with and see the other woman who was wronged. My wife feels quite insecure compared to other betrayed spouses. Is that the correct spelling? The other betrayed partner is younger, a model, exceptionally attractive, and runs a thriving business. My wife worries that I might succumb to temptation and betray her as an act of revenge. I can hardly wrap my head around her audacity to deliver that two wrongs don't make a right lecture. Certainly, she has a point, and I have no plans to act on it. Yet her hypocrisy drives me up the wall. Whenever I plan to visit another spouse who has been betrayed, like I did yesterday, she becomes very upset or overly attached. I can't count the times she has approached me, determined to ensure that I remain faithful to her. I turn down her efforts, and it only exacerbates the situation. It truly astonishes me how self-centered cheaters can be, focusing solely on their own suffering while those who have been betrayed must navigate the aftermath and attempt to rebuild their lives. Additionally, our children continue to interact with their peers. I always bring my kids when I visit another betrayed spouse. However, my wife continues to believe that I possess the same coldness she did, ready to seize any chance to be unfaithful with another woman. Ridiculous nonsense. Ohm continues to reside in their vacation retreat, pleading with the other wronged partner to reconsider their relationship. Honestly, it gives me a deep sense of fulfillment to witness him facing the repercussions. He hasn't attempted to intimidate me, given the significant advantage I hold over him. He must confront the reality that I maintain communication with his wife. He can visit his kids whenever he likes, but he prefers not to see me, so he ensures I'm not present during his visits. I truly feel sorry for him, to be honest. At present, my wife has been incredibly remorseful. She has lavished me with affection, which I merely dismissed. I find myself in a challenging situation. Today we have a therapy session, and I feel the need to express all the pain and hurt I've experienced because of her. The intensity of my anger is becoming all-consuming. Just a quick update, reaching out to see how things are going. There's not much to share with you all at the moment. A few developments have occurred, however. Reflecting on my posts and messages has shown me what an incredible community this is, offering support to individuals like us. I have been exploring various materials related to infidelity to gain a clearer understanding of my circumstances. During a recent therapy session with my wife, she expressed a desire for me to grant her a bit more time to win me back. She presented a multitude of reasons for why it might be worthwhile for me to at least attempt to engage in the process of salvaging our marriage, though reconciliation wasn't the immediate goal. I consistently pointed out that her current efforts were a result of the consequences stemming from her affair. She wouldn't be making an effort if she were still involved with OM. For months, I endured emotional abuse, and I refused to be the kind of person who allows anyone, even the woman I loved, to walk all over me. She recognized all her mistakes and offered her apologies once more. She has made numerous assurances about compensating for her past actions. She envisions our marriage flourishing more than it ever has and is confident in its potential. I inquired if she was prepared to endure my fury, as I have an abundance to offer. She was completely supportive and encouraged me to share my feelings with her whenever I needed to help me work through the pain. Whenever I inquired about her affair, she would offer a multitude of justifications. This time, she was direct and admitted there was no justification for her actions. She promised to dedicate every day of her life to demonstrating her genuine remorse and ensuring she would never cause me that kind of pain again. She opened up to me about her feelings, and it helped me realize that she was quite insecure and envious of the other betrayed spouse. The affair inflated her sense of self, and she reveled in the sensations of beauty and desire. She recognized that the relationship was purely a dream and could never endure. She seldom contemplated the repercussions, yet occasionally found herself reflecting on it. She laments the affair, expressing that the weight of this guilt will accompany her for all her days. She may never find it in herself to forgive. She expressed that she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse, and her certainty that I would cheat back stemmed from the fact that the other betrayed spouse is not only beautiful, but also possesses integrity. Not once has the other spouse ever spoken harshly to her or issued any threats. It was merely my wife's doubts expressing themselves, perhaps coupled with my own frustration over her betrayal. This is where things take a fascinating turn. The therapist inquired about what might lead me to contemplate my wife's suggestion. No ideas surfaced. I spoke my truth and expressed a desire for a time machine, as my current marriage feels like a facade, something I never agreed to be part of. She shared with me that every marriage encounters challenges, from betrayal to loss. The manner in which those challenges are addressed reveals the resilience of a marriage. I truly found it hard to comprehend the direction this conversation was taking, so I urged the therapist to concentrate on my wife instead of us. The therapist mentioned that my struggle to engage with logical reasoning could pose challenges in communication. I found no reason to disagree. My wife and I engaged in an extensive conversation during our drive back home. She inquired whether I felt diminished because of her affair. Given that she had never posed that question to me previously, I was truly taken aback by it. I responded affirmatively. She surprised me by inquiring whether I would feel improved if I were to share a bed with another woman. I reiterated that I am neither involved in nor will engage in a revenge affair. She clarified that she was referring to a trial separation, suggesting that I take some time to rediscover my mojo. She will stay loyal and patiently await the moment I'm prepared to return to the marriage. I previously considered her to be in a state of desperation, but her proposal struck me as utterly absurd. I inquired about how that could possibly enhance the marriage when both individuals are engaging in affairs. She explained that mine wouldn't be an affair, as we would be separated under conditions that allowed me the freedom to see other people. I expressed to her that it was a significant gamble on her end, and she replied that we were already heading for divorce. So, if this doesn't benefit us, at least she can explore what the outside world has in store. I clearly dismissed the notion as it appeared completely uncharacteristic for her to suggest such a thing. My wife has exhibited an unusual sense of calm and patience over the past few weeks. She seems transformed from the wild, uncertain individual she once was. Naturally, I understand the importance of being cautious with her for my own well-being. It presents quite a challenge indeed. Despite her reluctance, she has shown remarkable generosity in the divorce proceedings. I've come across countless stories of tumultuous divorces, but mine has been different. This situation feels almost surreal. Navigating it proves to be quite challenging. To clarify, I am definitely proceeding with the divorce. I would love to hear what others think about this. Here I am with another update. Greetings all. I have yet another update in this unfortunate chapter of my life. Before diving into that, I want to express my gratitude to those who have consistently reached out to offer their support. At this moment, my wife and I have chosen to maintain a cordial relationship and celebrate the holidays together as a family. This will be the final holiday that will ever take place. Even though my wife remains different in other aspects, I aim to accomplish this for the benefit of our child. My affection for my children knows no bounds. The finalization of our divorce is set for mid-February, for anyone who might be interested. We have divided everything equally, though she has shown remarkable generosity on her part. I'm still uncertain if this is a strategy and if she could become unpleasant down the line. However, until now, she's been kind and admits that it's due to my being an exceptional partner and parent. She believes I deserve a divorce that is more than equitable, given her actions. It's not that she will suffer greatly from the divorce, but I do benefit a bit more because of her. I have made the choice to discontinue my therapy sessions with her. It was leading her to believe in possibilities that weren't real, leaving her confused and uncertain. She has revealed that she has a deep yearning to connect with me on a more personal level. During my absence and her awareness of my feelings of emasculation and undesirability due to her affair, she has consistently, and I truly mean consistently, attempted to initiate sexual encounters with me. To be completely candid, my wife rarely took the lead in our intimate moments before all of this, so I felt somewhat unsettled by her doing so now. As time passed, I came to value her perspective on this as a concern of mine that she was eager to tackle. I've turned her down, yet she continues to insist, firmly claiming that this isn't about making amends and that her only intention is for me to feel appreciated and wanted. I have decided to sever ties with the other betrayed spouse for the time being, as the situation was becoming a bit too intimate for my comfort. To the individual who suggested that I was involved in a revenge affair, I suppose you weren't entirely mistaken. I was completely unaware until another betrayed partner admitted that she is interested in exploring the potential of our relationship. She mentioned that she would hold off until my divorce is finalized before we explored anything further. I found myself utterly perplexed and unable to provide her with a response. We have chosen to step back from each other until everything is resolved. However, I'm uncertain if I can reciprocate her feelings. I'm completely at a loss on how to approach that. Someone suggested that being in the company of other betrayed spouses was influencing her potential reconciliation with her husband. I can guarantee that I am not involved in her choice to depart from OM. She has moved on from him, and that's entirely her decision. We refrain from speaking negatively about our partners when in each other's company. OM recently approached me face to face to express their apologies for all that transpired. He had always carried himself with a sense of superiority, but this experience truly brought him down a notch. I chose not to accept his apology. Call me small-minded, but I really don't care about what that jerk is experiencing. I have an inquiry. Is it acceptable for me to be intimate with my wife, even if we're not working towards reconciliation? I must confess, I find myself longing for intimacy. The longing for that deep connection and warmth is palpable. My wife is enthusiastic and has been exploring every avenue to spark intimacy: new lingerie, sexting, affectionate touches, heartfelt letters, and more. At times I struggle to hold back my desire. She took it upon herself to dispose of, incinerate, and replace anything related to OM in my home without my prompting, as I honestly had no interest in knowing the specifics of where they had been intimate. Turning off these emotions isn't a simple task for me. Could this be a snare? Am I being manipulated? Before anyone suggests I should ask her to leave, I've already attempted that, and I prefer her presence here as it simplifies things until the divorce is finalized. I've finally come to a realization. At this moment, I once believed I had squandered years on someone who seemed to hold no value, yet she blessed me with wonderful children and cherished memories. These moments will remain etched in my memory, treasured deeply as I navigate through life. However, I've come to realize that I am capable of achieving more than she is, and I will surpass her. A multitude of individuals has been offering me guidance on how to navigate this situation. I have come to realize, at long last, that I am worthy of something greater than what she offers. She betrayed me, belittled me, and made me feel inferior when another man caught her eye. She truly poured her energy into another guy. I can hardly believe that I'm finally accepting that I'm over her, and it's happening just now, at this moment. Now she goes to great lengths to ensure I stay by her side. Now she is channeling her energy into us. Now she expects me to be happy when she never cared before. Now she desires to embrace her adventurous side and share intimacy with me. The intimacy we shared was never extraordinary, yet I enjoyed it. Now I realize how much I've overlooked. From her conversation with OM, I only grasped the surface of how intense their trios were. Now she wants to demonstrate the depth of her affection for me, despite having been somewhat lackadaisical in the past. The relaxed intimacy resonates deeply with me. Now she offers me space and is joyful and encouraging about anything I pursue, whereas before it was solely focused on giving her attention and meeting her needs simultaneously. Now she respects my boundaries and makes a concerted effort to enhance them. Now she perceives me as the ruler I always hoped she would, but alas, I had to bring her down from her pedestal first. She embodies the perfect woman, yet it feels transient to me. Now she shares everything with me openly. She possesses a fierce honesty, unafraid to speak her mind, even at the risk of causing me discomfort or putting herself in an awkward position. I can't recall ever encountering a woman who consistently wears an expression of shame. She longs for this affair to have never occurred. It's evident how often she berates herself each day. Her face reflects a deep sense of despair when I fail to respond to her efforts. She appears utterly despondent, particularly when she attempts to conceal her feelings. At times, it fills me with self-loathing, yet I find it essential. What prevents me from viewing this in a favorable light? What prevents me from evaluating her actions at this moment? They express regret, don't they? Numerous individuals experience LTAs and emerge even more resilient than they were prior, correct? Why am I making my choices based on feelings rather than from a standpoint of clear-headed analysis? Another person will ultimately receive the enhanced and refined version of her, while I embark on yet another unpredictable relationship. Why not strive for this when all signs indicate a promising future? I have received these lines, and I possess a single response. I will not tolerate disrespect. Perhaps I was open to it in the initial phases of exploration, but I soon came to my senses. This is a response to those who have reached out and consistently inquired about my circumstances. I plan to savor this Christmas with my whole family before embarking on a new chapter without my wife. I chose to silence the chaos I conjured in my mind that allowed my wife's influence to linger and fully let go of the notion of her. I have decided against dating her or pursuing another opportunity for us. We are finished for good. I often express that my wife is not a villain, and that statement holds true. I desire her happiness too, yet I know it will never be alongside me. She has revealed that to me. I reached out to another betrayed spouse today and invited her to dinner after the holidays to express my gratitude for her support during my lowest moments. She expressed her enthusiasm for it. I understand that such moments are rare, yet we truly stood by one another during this time, and I feel a deep sense of gratitude towards her. Thank you. Before anyone begins to speculate about the extent of my planning with OBS, I genuinely did not put much thought into it. My emotions have been so tangled over these past few years that the mere idea of another woman never entered my thoughts. It's just dinner, nothing more unless we both desire it. Yet, as divorce approaches, I find myself recognizing the options available to me, and one of those options has been right in front of me all along. What is the situation with OM? I couldn't care less about that guy. I believe I won't be marrying again, and I'm open about this with any woman I meet. While my divorce hasn't posed significant challenges, I find myself facing considerable financial losses. The concept of marriage feels like a facade to me at this point. I apologize for my current cynicism. I hope this post doesn't upset anyone, yet I find myself feeling quite disillusioned. I devoted my prime years to this woman, and I'm beginning to see just how little I received in return. Wishing you a joyful holiday season. I won't be in touch for some time. Revision. Legally separated. The wait has been extensive. I previously stated that I would return to provide a final update here. It's done. My ex and I have definitively parted ways. It occurred nearly 3 weeks ago, lingering in my thoughts for several days following the event. I mourned as if I had experienced the loss of someone dear to me. The realization of my marriage's spectacular failure struck me with overwhelming force. I haven't cried that intensely since I first uncovered the affair. I experienced a great deal of anger as well. Undoubtedly, a moment of great struggle for me. Everything has been arranged for my former partner, partly for the child's benefit. She has vacated the house, and I am considering purchasing her share. She currently resides in an apartment. It's a significant setback for her, and it really brings her down. She continues her sessions with the therapist, remaining deeply engaged in exploring literature and research on infidelity, though the reason for this commitment eludes her. We've engaged in extensive discussions both prior to and following the divorce, with little physical interaction. I understand that I shouldn't engage with her at this moment, yet she remains the mother of my children, and I desire for us to maintain a positive co-parenting relationship. I approach the situation with a clear and rational mindset, largely due to the support of this community and others. Naturally, it's the same melody. She seeks to mend things, but I believe it's too perilous for me to find myself in that scenario once more. Regrettably, I don't feel inclined to present her with that gift. This past weekend, I joined other spouses who have faced betrayal for dinner, with the sole intention of enjoying each other's company and engaging in conversation. We engaged in a myriad of discussions. There was a playful tension building between us, and I have to confess, I was quite hesitant to embrace the swiftly shifting atmosphere. It seems the evening concluded with an intense fervor. Apologies for oversharing, but it was truly an unforgettable experience. The connection was remarkable, far surpassing anything I had before. I didn't mean for things to escalate like that, but the other betrayed partner was involved, and I was too. Picked up several new skills in the bedroom, ha. It was the first time I encountered someone so eager to bring me joy, rather than the other way around. I suppose I shouldn't refer to her as the other betrayed spouse anymore, since she has divorced her ex, but for the sake of privacy, I'll continue to use that term. I believe it's best if we don't advance our relationship any further. Honestly, I believe the combination of hormones and wine overwhelmed us that evening. She has the desire, yet I find myself uncertain. I need to get my emotions in order, and I believe she does too. I feel quite well indeed. Some may find this hard to accept, but the intimacy I experienced with another betrayed partner significantly contributed to my lingering self-esteem challenges. I experienced a sense of longing, vitality, and at last grasped what had been absent from my life. I refused to accept anything less than genuine intimacy from now on. The true satisfaction came from the knowledge that I remained true to myself and upheld my principles. All things considered, I take great pride in how I navigated through this challenging situation. I may not have been flawless, but I gave it my all. I consider myself fortunate compared to many others, even though I did incur a significant financial loss along the way. This outcome stemmed from my openness to absorbing advice and heeding the insights of those with experience, rather than diving in blindly and merely wishing for a positive result. I will always hold deep appreciation for you all. Your support, along with everyone who welcomed me here, has prevented me from diminishing my self-worth any further. Key insights. Hold yourself in high regard. Always stand firm against disrespect, regardless of who it comes from, even if they are the ones you hold dear. Everyone deserves a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Never settle for less from your partner. Every committed relationship ought to encompass a vibrant and satisfying sexual connection. If your partner isn't fully committed to you as they were with someone else or during an affair, it's important to not accept that behavior. I do not support sexual abuse or rape in any form. Clearly express your discontent. If your partner is unwilling to meet them, don't accept dull intimacy unless you both consent to it. It's perfectly fine to step away from that. Express. I cannot emphasize enough how incredibly important that is. In moments of betrayal, the journey to healing lies solely within you. It required quite a while for me to grasp this. There are certainly more, but that's all that comes to mind at the moment. I will be here to respond to any comments you might have. In just a few hours, I will be finished posting here for good and ready to move on with my life. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Update: things are quite chaotic at the moment. Hello everyone. I've received a lot of emails from those curious about how things are progressing with my situation. I have been intentionally avoiding anything related to infidelity because I still experience triggers from time to time. Considering that, I'm still navigating through a trauma. I prefer not to linger on things for too long. I've taken some time away from this site and others in an effort to move forward. Given the multitude of people who care about my well-being, I feel it's important to alleviate your concerns by providing an update. I'm doing fine. No mishaps. No sudden disappearance from existence. I remain an individual contributor. Another betrayed partner. I remain with my girlfriend. She successfully reached an agreement with OM regarding child custody and financial matters. She had every reason to be vengeful and could have easily taken him to the cleaners. But instead, she approached the situation with maturity. There is certainly some tension among the children regarding all of this. We are navigating this situation to the best of our abilities. We have initiated their therapy to ensure they adjust appropriately and recognize that the relationship between the other betrayed spouse and me has minimal impact on them. However, we regard them as significant in terms of managing this situation. This is quite challenging since not everyone is in agreement, my daughter. My former partner and the other man do not enjoy each other's company. It seems to me that each of them holds the other responsible for the outcome of their situation. I'm serious about this. A palpable tension arises when those two find themselves in close proximity. My former STL is seeking a second chance and may be upset that another betrayed spouse's IC has influenced my perspective, helping me see things more clearly and preventing me from discarding everything we have for good. This woman is so misguided that I truly find her behavior concerning. At a 4th of July gathering hosted by a friend of mine, she ventured into something new. I turned it off, but perhaps not with enough conviction. I was skeptical of those who claimed she would be longing for me, but it turns out you were all correct. She seems eager to return, and it's quite intense. The other betrayed spouse's individual counseling is allowing me to take the lead on this. However, she's also growing weary of my ex. Have I mentioned that my ex has a deep-seated animosity towards other betrayed partners? I genuinely believed that my former partner was evolving into a better version of herself, but ever since I moved on to someone new, her life has been a chaotic mess. I still find that perplexing. I gave her more care than I ever gave anyone else, yet she treated me poorly. Yet the instant I express my disinterest, she's flipping through hoops to capture my attention. I'm uncertain if this is something that warrants my anger. Indeed, that sums it up. You can all relax now. I have concerns about my daughter. Hello, everyone. I'm familiar with Reddit, but this sub is a new experience for me. I've been searching for reliable resources to navigate the situation I'm facing. Please feel free to review my background for more context, but I'll provide a brief summary here. My ex-wife was unfaithful. It extended over a period of about 2 years. During this period, my ex-wife exhibited abusive behavior towards me and frequently made comparisons between me and her other man. Our intimate life had deteriorated even further, and at first I accepted full responsibility for my perceived failures. Upon uncovering the affair, I didn't have an immediate strategy to part ways with her. However, it gradually unfolded one weekend when she went out to enjoy herself with another man and deceived me about it. I connected with another spouse who had been betrayed, and we collaborated to navigate the process of divorcing our partners. Throughout this journey, we shared the news with our children in a way they could understand, explaining that Mommy had broken a promise to Daddy. We kept it simple, focusing on the fact that we were parting ways, but still loved them deeply. They handled it as well as anyone in this situation might wish, though naturally, they didn't want the divorce to occur, which is entirely reasonable. My former spouse had been persistently advocating for us to get back together, but I simply couldn't bring myself to offer her another opportunity. I let go of any resentment, realizing it wasn't personal, and felt a sense of closure as the divorce approached its final stages. It was quite expensive, yet the monetary impact wasn't overly significant. It's important to note that soon after the divorce, the other betrayed spouse and I gradually began to develop a relationship. Initially, it resembled a casual arrangement, but now it has evolved into something much deeper. If it hadn't been for our support during the aftermath of the affair, I believe I might still be with my unfaithful ex. That, or ended it all, half joking. I frequently engage in conversations with my children to grasp how they're navigating through this situation. I strive to ensure our discussions are candid, and if they have any reservations about my relationship with OBS, I encourage them to express their feelings. I would not take offense, as my priority is to avoid placing them in a situation that could complicate their future. My son, who is 10, enjoys using OBS, while my daughter, at 15, takes a bit more time to adapt to the new dynamic. She expresses her desire for my happiness and feels it's not her role to meddle in my relationship with OBS. I express to her my desire for her happiness as well. If she has any reservations about OBS, she can express them, and I won't take offense. She mentions that she's okay with OBS and just requires a bit of time. We've engaged in numerous conversations with them regarding healthy relationships. I have engaged in numerous conversations with my daughter regarding her fears and concerns. So far, she appears to be quite encouraging of me. Others and I are very careful with our relationship to avoid overwhelming all the kids involved, my son, daughter, and her 2 daughters. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is in therapy, including OM, but that's a separate issue altogether. Clearly, this is quite an unusual circumstance. This brings me back to my daughter. The consequences of the affair and the choices that followed have undoubtedly put a strain on her relationship with her mother. She candidly expresses her disdain for her, claiming that if it weren't for her actions, none of this would have transpired. She exhibits a strong defiance in her interactions with her mother. She pouts when it's her mother's turn to pick her up. She dismisses her mother's gestures of love. She even cursed at her once, prompting me to intervene and remind her to be respectful, which she adhered to in that moment. The ongoing disputes between them are quite concerning, especially as I see how deeply they impact my daughter. The former spouse is navigating the situation to the best of her ability, yet there are limits to what she can accomplish independently. She seeks my help in mending her relationship with her daughter, as the choice to divorce was mine. I could confront her about her infidelity. She was to blame. I rise above such matters, yet it casts considerable doubt on my approach to this situation. Concerns I need to outline. Dash's daughter shows a lack of respect for her mother. Dash's daughter longs for a return to the past. She remains unaware of the abuse I endured at the hands of her mother. Dash's daughter is in therapy, yet I'm uncertain about the extent of its effectiveness for her. Dash, I'm concerned that she might feel voiceless and powerless in this situation, which could lead to her feeling overwhelmed. Dash has managed my relationship with the other betrayed spouse effectively, yet I find myself concerned that she may be concealing her true feelings. Dash, I can't shake the feeling that my decision to divorce their mother may have negatively impacted my kids' lives. I won't be returning to that toxic individual, but I would welcome any advice you might have. Revision. I understand that you all had concerns about my well-being. Hello, everyone. Indeed, I have noticed your messages and inquiries. I apologize for my delayed response. I may not be present here anymore, but I'm fully aware that there are those who have been reaching out to inquire about me and my circumstances. This update will alleviate your concerns. Take heed, this tale does not lead to a fairy tale ending. Let's address the major issue at hand. How are the other betrayed partner and I faring? Truly remarkable. If I had known a woman like her existed earlier, I would have sought her out long ago. Ha 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 ha. Putting humor aside, I have never experienced a deeper connection with any woman than I have with her. Having been through so much turmoil with my ex-wife, I found myself quite lost when it came to understanding what a healthy relationship truly entailed. Self-doubt lingered within me. However, other spouses who have experienced betrayal supported me during this time and are truly remarkable partners. I am deeply enamored with this woman. She has repeatedly demonstrated how much I matter to her, and I share those feelings in return. Just a girlfriend, nothing beyond that. Nevertheless, I remain uncertain about the entire concept of marriage. We continue to handle matters discreetly, keeping the children minimally involved in the dynamics of our relationship. Indeed, the children are aware of our relationship. What about the children? The beginning was certainly challenging, let's be honest. However, they are currently enjoying a harmonious relationship. It seems to stem from our deep engagement in their lives, ensuring they always had someone to confide in when challenges arose. Additionally, a significant amount of therapy. My daughter and son adore the other betrayed spouse. She truly has a special connection with children. Her children have taken quite a liking to me since nearly 2 years back. Her youngest has even begun introducing me as her stepdad at events and outings we've attended together, which caught me off guard. I had concerns that she might feel obligated to view me in that light, yet she expressed that she genuinely liked me and appreciated that I bring happiness to her mom, which in turn makes her happy to have me as her stepdad. I can't express how deeply I felt after hearing that. It struck me unexpectedly, like a heavy weight crashing down. Yet I managed to maintain a brave facade. I enjoy watching my children joyfully engage with their OBSs. They have come together to mercilessly tease my son, the sole boy and the youngest among them. I'm not sure whether to find that amusing or uncomfortable. What can I say about my unfaithful ex-wife? We have a positive relationship. She has been putting in a tremendous amount of effort, independently, to mend her bond with her daughter. It brought me joy when my daughter expressed that she could find it within herself to forgive her mother for her actions. They have faced numerous challenges over the years and have made significant strides together. Despite that, I still feel my ex-wife hasn't completely come to terms with the fact that our relationship has ended. She appears to be searching for or suggesting the possibility of a second attempt. She has been hitting the gym regularly and continuing her individual therapy sessions. Overall, she appears to be in a much better state now, but it doesn't really concern me. I have come to terms with what has been. It's her issue for not taking the same approach. She engages in more conversations with another spouse who has been betrayed, and this is returned in kind. However, the other spouse often looks at her with doubt, a sentiment that is understandable considering everything that has transpired. Seems to be a futile endeavor. I had no idea how chaotic the situation would turn out to be with him. All that wealth and no wisdom. He is currently in a relationship, yet his children openly express their disdain for her. It took me a while to realize just how self-absorbed the guy was. Honestly, I'm not a fan of his girlfriend either. She appears to be quite superficial, self-centered, and indifferent towards the girls. In summary, we are certainly faring better than just okay. Please don't misunderstand me. I questioned whether this was the correct direction to take. With considerable dedication from everyone involved, the outcome is proving to be remarkable. No fairy tale endings, just pure joy in the present moment. Indeed, that sums it up. You can all relax now.